Today is decoration day, a real day for it with the rain hindering everything. There's hardly anybody here. But me and Corey have come together to put some things on the graves. Paul and Granny have already beat us to it, so they take such good care of Pap's grave. Granny makes a little wreath, usually of crocheted flowers, and then they've got the wonderful red, white, and blue. They're getting ahead thinking of Memorial Day, but also 4th of July. And then on Miss Cindy's, they went ahead and put a pink saddle on it for us, which was so nice. Someone has put a beautiful little bouquet with an angel, so touching. I don't know if that was someone from here from the church or who that was, maybe one of her friends. And then we just added the other pink bouquet. So I wish it wasn't raining, but it's still a very meaningful, beautiful, even with the rain. This is such a beautiful graveyard, and it's really special each day, each decoration day, and we think about Pap and Miss Cindy always, but you know, it is a meaningful thing to do, to come pay your respects at their grave.
I'm down here this morning in the big garden early, just after daylight. I'm going to put some fertilizer on our corn. We got some rain coming probably this afternoon, maybe lunchtime, maybe a little after, but this will be a good time to get it on just ahead of the rain. Also, being down here this early gets ahead of the heat, so we'll see if we can get it on.
Katie's poppies are just lovely this year. There's this whole stand of them back here, the corner of the house. Some of them are looking kind of tattered, but there's more blooms about to open. It is about to rain, and I know they won't look this pretty after the rain, but they have been so beautiful. We've all just enjoyed them. We've never done anything with our garlic scapes in all the years we've grew garlic. This year I wanted to try to do something with them. I asked for you subscribers to share information. You did. Thank you so much. This is the first time I've ever made pesto. I don't know that it's technically pesto. I'll tell you why. But I've never made pesto of any kind. But this is, I used the garlic scapes. I used lemon juice. I didn't have any pine nuts, so I've seen lots of recipes that said you could use walnuts. I had walnuts, so I thought I would just go for it. Well, then I got my walnuts out and they were rancid. I couldn't use them. I seen some recipes that used Parmesan cheese, so I put Parmesan cheese in it, put olive oil in it, and salt. So it's probably not technically a true pesto. I don't know that much about pesto, but me and Matt both think it is really, really tasty. I'm going to get it out. I've been eating it on my a piece of homemade bread. It is so good. And I'm going to get it out and put it in. Well, I'll save some of it out for us to eat in the next few days, and the rest of it I will put in a just little jar and put it in the freezer, or even you could put it in a freezer bag, I guess, what you wanted to do. And then we will pull it out and eat it later. But it is definitely tasty and definitely worth doing again.
Yeah, Carlos. Remember that? How are you?
Mama don't put no pants on me.
That's alright.
All I do is a diaper.
That's alright.
In a recent video, Matt and I were talking about how the only really pest we have in the garden are turtles, terrapins, what we call terrapins. And I was out here fooling around and I heard something bigger than a lizard over in the bushy area, and I investigated and I found one of our buddies. So this is what we call a terrapin. Let's see if you can see there. Saying, "Why did you move me, lady?" So you can see how small they are and how low down. So that makes it easy for them to take a bite out of anything that's near the ground. Terrapins are very, very common in our area. And the Cherokee, they have a folklore that actually their shells tell a story if you knew how to read it. I don't know how to read the shell, but I always thought that was interesting. Because they're easy to catch, terrapins are often children in Appalachia's favorite little pet to catch. My niece April, she used to catch her a terrapin. She would just play with it a day or two, try to feed it grass or something like that, and then she would let it go. But most of the time, before letting it go, she would put one little streak of fingernail polish on its shell. And that way she'd know, if it come back in the yard, she'd know that was one she'd already had as a pet and didn't want to catch it again or whatever. She just wanted to mark it. And one time me and Corey and Katie and Matt were way up the creek and walking along one of the trails, and one of us seen a terrapin. Said, "Oh, look, there's a terrapin." And then we noticed a little bit of fingernail polish on it, and I was teasing. I said, "That little terrapin's making tracks for Moccasin Creek," which is over towards Georgia. I was like hoping it's never caught by a little skinny girl again. I think the correct name may be like eastern box turtle or something like that, but we definitely call them terrapins. I'm about to walk down the road. I've got something really wonderful to show you. So come on, and I'll show you what it is. Hi. I was on my way to show something really neat. You want to go with me?
Yeah.
So I found a pregnant lady walking.
Prego in the log.
It's just right down here.
Let's go see. I want to know what it is.
So what you're looking at is a wild raspberry patch. I'm so excited. They're black. Corey, are you impressed? They're black. Corey thinks they're blackberries, I bet.
These are raspberries?
They're raspberries.
I thought these were blackberries.
No. So the other day I had take some food out to Corey's house, helping Corey out since she's pregnant, but for Daniel and Matt was working on the heating and air. And when I come back, I had to turn around. I can't make the turn to go back up my driveway. It's too, usually I back out, but I couldn't back out that way because there's too many cars. Anyway, I had to do a little U-turn right here. And when I did, I looked over here and I seen some blackberries, and I thought, oh, blackberries, like Corey just thought. And then I thought, wait a minute, why are they already ripe down here and they're not ripe up at my house? So I was like, I've got to investigate. So I got out of the car and come over here, and that's when I realized they were raspberries.
How did they get here?
Well, I'll tell you that story in a minute. First, we must taste them. Oops, dropped my bucket. There's a little bit of ants, but blow the ants off.
Oh,
are they not
good.
delicious?
Wow.
So good. You have
Thank you.
Now for the story of the raspberries. Well, raspberries, black and red, grow wild throughout southern Appalachia, so it's not that strange that they would be here. But I do have a great story about them. Years ago, before, I'm not sure if I'd met Matt or if it was right before I met Matt. Anyway, I was not married. The only house on this little road, our house was not there. Paul's house, we're right by his garage, was not here. It was only Steve and Kim's. The pond was still here. It's gone now, been covered up in the way of progress. Anyway, so this was a more, what would you say, Corey, not as traveled area through here. And Pap, one year, or maybe for a couple of years, he created a little bitty garden down here and had a bean patch. It didn't last long. Anyway, one year I was down here, and I'm not sure if I was walking out to Steve and Kim's or if I was out at the big garden, or maybe I was looking at that new little garden, and I found raspberries, and I was so excited about it. And one of the reasons is because, of course, they're tasty. Who doesn't love them? But another, I have a real memory of my Mama Marie. She had raspberries, and I loved to be out in her backyard, and I would just eat them as fast as I could. I just eat them. They were so good, so soft. You know how raspberries are. Anyway, when I found the raspberries, I was so excited. I went and got Daddy, went and got Pat, and showed him. He was excited about it. Well, then, we didn't tell nobody they were there. So my brother Steve, he's all about keeping things neat and nice. In those days, he even weed-eated his road. And so he weed-eated them down, and they were gone. And I was so upset about it. I wasn't mad or anything because he didn't know that. He wasn't even paying attention. He didn't know what he was doing. But then I told Daddy, like, Steve weed-eated them down. He's like, well, I'll have to tell Steve where they're at, and that won't happen again. And then, you know, the way of life, probably by the next year, I had forgot about the raspberries. Maybe I was about to get married. Maybe by then, me and Matt was about to get married, and I wasn't thinking about raspberries. I was all in love. Anyway, so I'm guessing these raspberries are somehow connected to those that I found so many years ago. And they've obviously, because this is a huge patch, been growing here for many years now. I've just drove right by them and failed to notice them. But I'm so glad that I found them this year. Earlier today, I found the dreaded squash bug on my cucumbers. I went ahead and pulled up the radishes that were on this end right here where you can see the pine right there, because obviously they were not doing what they were supposed to do and they had all went to seed. So I pulled those up. I went and got pine out of the woods and I brought it out here and put it everywhere. And then I had to go inside and do some stuff. So I thought, okay, I'll give it, you know, a couple of hours and see if I come back out. If I see no squash bugs, then maybe the pine worked. But can you see that one right there crawling? Let's see if I move this. There he is. See him right there? So that definitely didn't seem to work either. I'm still gonna, I made up my concoction of the pepper and the garlic and all that. I'm gonna let that sit overnight, and then I'll come back out in the morning and spray and see if that works. So my squash bug killing or deterrent continues, my saga of the squash bugs. The pine that I put out yesterday, I said was not working, but then when I come out this morning, I don't see any. Actually, I've seen two. Can't figure out where they went now. But there was a lot on here yesterday, and now I'm down to two that I can visibly see. Right there's the two that I still see. But yesterday, there was a bunch on them. So maybe the pine is working some. I did make up my pepper and garlic spray that I was going to. Seeing if that was one, but that's just a dead leaf. But I've not sprayed it yet, obviously. I added some pine to the squash and zucchini we had up in the front because I'd seen 1 or 2 squash bugs up there too. So I'm going to go check and see if I see any there now. See a cucumber right there. I went up to the front and I seen 1 squash bug with the pine up there. So it's hard to tell if the pine is actually helping or not, but since I've already made the spray, I will just go ahead and spray it this evening when the sun begins to go down, just to make sure. I'm just going to spray everything and see if that helps. This is the mixture that I'm going to spray. So those are hot peppers that we grew last year that I dried. I've also got garlic in it, and then just water. And then I'm going to, when I put it in the sprayer, after I strain all this stuff out, I will add some dish detergent to it, a few drops of it. There's all kinds of recipes online. This is just a recipe that I found, but you can find tons of them. And let's just hope it works. We haven't been hearing the katydids holler yet, but we just got home and here's one on Matt's truck. Maybe it's the first one of the summer.